Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? My name is Hassan and you're welcome once again to Mo's Medical. Alright, so today I'm going to be doing the second video in the So You Want to Go series, and today I have a very special guest who I'll be interviewing, and she goes to St. James School of Medicine. So you guys look out for that shortly. And also I'm going to be putting the timestamps of these videos in the description below, so you guys can easily jump to any section you wish to just watch directly if you don't want to sit through the whole thing. Alright, so that's just going to be there for your viewing pleasures. Alright, so without any further ado, I'm going to take you to the interview with Kristen from St. James School of Medicine. Hope you guys enjoy. See you there. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Kristen. I'm in my second year at St. James School of Medicine. We've got two campuses, so I'm on the Anguilla campus, but I've actually just been doing medical school online this whole time. But yeah.
Okay, nice. So you said you guys have two campuses. So where are the two campuses are located?
So it's Anguilla, which is like an island by St. Martin, and then St. Vincent.
Oh, nice.
Anguilla is the most recent campus that's been opened, but I haven't been to either of them. So.
Okay. So now that the quarantine has started, you guys, there's no one going into campus right now?
We have the option of going online or in person. So there are some students there and the profs are there, but Anguilla has like a pretty hefty fee to quarantine.
Okay.
So a lot of students are choosing to stay back.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if you were to choose one of the islands, which one would you have loved to go to?
I chose Anguilla, so like technically that's when I'm enrolled in, and like that's where my profs are coming from. So like there's different profs for both campuses. So I like have the Anguilla profs and I'm with the Anguilla students online. But I just chose it because I said it's like an island vibe. Like they're like, it's a super, super quiet, low pace, small island, where St. Vincent apparently is like a lot bigger and more hectic. Like it's more of like a city versus an island, they say. So.
See, okay, that's nice. Wow, I have a lot of questions already for that, but let me know. We're going to get to that very soon.
Sure.
So just tell us, how did you hear about your school and why did you decide to choose St. James School of Medicine?
Right, so I have always wanted to go to medicine, but I knew that I probably wasn't going to get into Canada my first year applying, because I know I needed more research and volunteering and all that sort of stuff. So I started looking into Caribbean schools, and a lot of them you needed like physics or biochem, and I didn't have those two, but I had like organic chem and everything else. So I found St. James online, and then my dad is actually an emerge doctor in Ontario, and he had a resident come back and do a shift with him from St. James. Okay. So I was able to talk to somebody that came from St. James, which was nice. But my biggest thing was the biochem and physics. Was I applied to St. James and got in. I was like, I could apply to more and keep applying. Yeah. There's like the big five, of course, and then all the other ones. But I was like, I could spend my fourth year of undergrad kind of like getting ready for med school, hanging out with friends a little bit more.
For sure.
Like it easy versus like taking biochem and physics and like maybe getting into another school, but maybe not. Mm-hmm. So I accepted my seat and was like, I'm gonna make the best of it. I know people that have come back to Canada, and that's essentially my goal at the end of this. So I was like, if other people can do it, then I can too.
All right, yeah. Nice. That's interesting. All right, so what are some of the entry requirements for St. James? I know you already touched on the fact that they don't need the biochem and the physics, right?
Yeah.
What are some entry requirements like MCAT and stuff like that?
So they want you to have an undergrad. I think you need 90 credits. So you don't actually have to finish your undergrad. It's 3 years minimum.
Yeah.
I'd probably suggest finishing your undergrad just so you have it. But again, it's not like you don't need to. Yeah. They suggest a strong science background, mostly because it's going to help you with your courses. But they do have people from there's a lot of older students too that don't come from science, and like it's something I've always been interested in and I'm really gonna work for it. Like I'm gonna work for it, I'm gonna do it. So they're like, accept them, but they suggest like a strong science background. They've got nurses, like previous nurses that always wanted to do medicine, or like people from the healthcare field. They don't require an MCAT, but they suggest you write it, and there's also scholarships if you write it. So for every like bracket of a score, there's an increase in your scholarship. And if you score really well, you can even get like a full ride to St. James, which is awesome. And like no matter
semesters or just like the first semester?
There's requirements to keep up with it throughout the semester. So like, say you come in with a certain bracket of, say you get like 7,500 off of your terms.
Okay.
They'll be like, if you are above in your MBME score average, if you are doing like, if you're involved with one of the clubs and involved like whatever, then you can continue it throughout the semesters. As soon as you're below the average, or as soon as you drop the clubs, then you can't have it anymore.
Okay. All right. So MCAT is not required. Are there any prerequisite courses required at all?
So there's not like prerequisites, but they like suggest a strong science background. So they asked you which courses you've taken, and like they do their admissions on like a rolling basis. So they do it student to student. So they're like, okay, this student has a strong science background. They really are heavily dependent on the letters of recommendation in your interview. So they want to just make sure that you're like a personable person, and that you're coming in for the right reasons, and that you're going to work for it. So they really give an opportunity for a lot of people that even if they don't have a strong science background, there is a second option, which is basically what they are going for.
So now the tuition fees. So what can someone expect to pay at St. James?
I know that the St. Vincent semester to semester is a little bit cheaper than Anguilla. I think by $1,000 or $2,000 US a semester, but it's about 8,000 US per semester. And then clinicals, I think, is about 9.
All right, so $8,000 US per semester. Then clinicals is like about 9,000.
Yeah, so then the St. Vincent one's a little bit cheaper. I think it's about 6,000 a semester. But they also have a lot of opportunities to get money off. So again, like with your MCAT, if you write that, they have research at the school that if you get involved with that, you can get like a certain amount off per semester. We have student tutors who get money off. They do a certain amount of hours tutoring. So yeah, there's a lot of help there.
How do you decide what campus to go to? Is it just like a free choice on the application?
Yeah, so when you apply, you pick which campus you want, and they'll accept you to that campus. Sometimes if their seats are full, they'll be like, we can't accept you to that campus, but we can accept you to the other one. So I had actually originally chose St. James because it was like there was like jungle, like rainforest, they said, and like a lot more like trees and all. I was like, just figured there's more to do on the island when I do have downtime. But then I was talking to my advisor guy, and I was talking about how in the summer I actually live on an island here in Ontario where my cottage is. And I told him, I guess my favorite spot to be in the summer, and I'm going to miss it going to the island. And he was like, well, why don't you choose Anguilla? He was like, it sounds the same. It's like a quiet, peaceful island. He was like, it's like island time. He said Anguilla, like, students go to the beach before their classes in the morning. The island's pretty slow paced. It's like everyone's super friendly, super nice. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool.
Right. So how many semesters do you guys have? And what kind of curriculum is it? Just talk to us about the curriculum of the school.
So there's 5 semesters, MD1 to MD5. MD5 is like strictly a prep course for the comp, the MBME comp and the step 1. So it just like prepares you from everything you've learned so far. But in MD1, you take like basic anatomy, embryology, histology, and every semester we have a clinical correlations course, which is basically everything you've learned in that semester, you're applying it to real life.
Yeah.
And then throughout our 5 semesters, we're working on a research project.
Okay. And
then MD2, you take your biochem, genetics, physiology, neuroscience, and then another clinical correlations course. MD3, we got into microbiology, immunology, behavioral sciences, epidemiology, biostats, pathology, and then MD4 is like pharm, ecology, pathology, and then a PDI course, which is like a physical diagnosis and like actually applying it again.
All right, so from what I hear, it seems like the school is more so, it's not organ system.
No, so it's not systems-based, it's by the class. I think that they're trying to get it to be systems-based. I know a couple students are working on it.
Okay.
But they obviously can't just implement it. There's a lot of going into it, but I think that's kind of where they're heading.
So what is the class size like? Do you have any idea what the class size is like? So like how many people in like class?
They typically accept, I think, around 40 people per semester.
Okay.
Throughout it, people, I think especially because it's online, and a lot of people have dropped it just because they find it too difficult to study medicine online. So it goes down a little bit. I think by the end of it, they guarantee like a 90% match rate just because after the comp and then passing step 1 or 90% pass rate. But typically they start with 40. My class right now has about 15.
15.
Yeah.
In the class.
Yeah. But again, like a lot of people, there's also at St. James, you don't have to take a full course load. So you can take like 2 courses and then the next 2 courses the next semester. Obviously, it takes you a lot longer to finish your basic sciences, but it's the option for like parents or for people that want to work during it, or if they just can't handle the full course load. So I think that's why the class sizes vary so much, is because some people can be taking a full course load and then some people can be taking 2 courses here, 2 courses there. So they're not always going to be in your class.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of anything like that before. So what you're saying is that you have the option to take a lesser course load per semester.
Yeah.
How much you feel you can take.
Yeah. So I know some people that take the lesser course load, but while they're doing it, they're also doing like a master's in something else.
Oh, wow. I see.
Yeah. So it's for people that like, just if they don't have time to do the full 5 courses or 4 courses, or yeah, again, a lot of parents, if they like move to the island with their families, they don't want to. So
interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I think a lot of people are going to might be happy to hear that. I don't know, but I'm not sure if you have any idea about what the housing on the island is going to be like since you're taking it online. Have you heard from any friends or anything?
Yeah, so I've talked to a bunch of people and I've told me about their experiences, and like basically everyone I've talked to, they're like, oh, if you go down the island, like I'll send you my landlord's number. They're all super nice and easygoing. I've heard that Anguilla actually doesn't have like street signs or anything, which is super weird. So I don't really know how that works, but our school offers like someone you can talk to, and she'll like provide you with housing details and different options. Okay. I know a lot of people down there do get cars. Something that I've heard. Island living, I think, is pretty expensive just because they have to import everything. So I know that like some people are saying watermelons can be like $30 depending on the season, but I don't know how accurate that is because I've never been. But yeah, there's like direct flights. You can stop over in St. Martin and then take a ferry over.
So
right.
How well would you say your school prepares students to take this step 1 exam?
So based on my experience or what I've heard, most people that make it to MD5 and have passed and write the NBME comp do fairly well on their step courses, I know, or their step tests. Yeah. I was talking to the guy that I know who came back to Canada, and he was like, honestly, like he was like, it's the amount of work you put into it, but the school preps you well. Like we go through first aid pretty much, like all the top resources they tell you to study for step all correlate to what I'm doing in that class. Like there's no thing like I'm like, oh, like where did we learn that, or we didn't learn that. They cover it pretty well from what I've found so far.
Okay. And does your school have any extra resources? Because I know, for example, my school, we have like a Kaplan subscription included in the tuition fee. We have osmosis included in our tuition fee as well. So do you guys have anything like that at all at St. James?
So on our MD5 semester, we do Kaplan, the Kaplan course. They provide us with a lot of our like textbooks or subscriptions to like Pathoma or Sketchy. Okay. So, or like older students will like have the videos or something. Okay. But yeah, they also provide us like a first aid textbook. I know a lot of people like to buy it themselves because it's better to have the physical copy. But yeah, we also have like our school provides us with tutors. So for tutor for every class, and their previous students have gotten 80% or higher in the course.
So what are the exams like? You think they are fair, multiple choice, short answer? Just tell us a bit more about them.
Right. So yeah, all of our exams are multiple choice. Each semester is divided, or each class is divided into 4 blocks, like block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. And within each block, you have a quiz and an exam. Some of the courses are cumulative along the way. Some are just cumulative at the end. But basically you learn like the first part for block 1, you have a cumulative quiz. It's like a halfway mark in it. And then the cumulative exam. And so it's like 50 multiple choice or 75. I think they're pretty fair. Obviously they're tough because they pick questions that are going to be similar to STEP. Yeah. So they pick them from like not exact questions, but the similar style to like UWorld or RX. So I find that you need to really make sure that you're using those resources in order to do well, but they're pretty fair. The class averages, we have a 70 to pass, and they typically sit like around a 70. So most people are like doing them pretty well.
Okay. So you just said, so to pass the particular course, you need to get a 70%.
Yeah.
And is this all, do you guys have any other avenues to get grades, or is it just like your exams and your quizzes?
It's the quizzes and the exams.
I see. So no like presentations or no like...
We have our research presentation, which is for one of the courses in MD. I think we present MD4. So I'll be doing that this summer. But it's just quizzes and exams. But it's nice that it's divided into the 4 blocks, because if you do poorly on one block, you can make it up with the next one. Or if you do really, really well on one and really poorly on the next, they kind of average out to around a 70. So it's nice that they give you a lot of opportunities that way.
So with the exams now, so if someone, what happens if someone fails an exam? What's the situation like for someone who doesn't get 70% at the end of the semester?
You can fail an exam. That you can, as long as your other ones are going to bring it up to a 70, like your average at the end. So just like your final average has to be a 70 in the course. I think that if you fail the course once, you can do a retest, but you have to get a 70 on the exam.
Okay.
So say you fail your MBME for microbiology.
Okay.
A couple weeks later, you can rewrite it a different test, but another MBME for microbiology, and you have to get at least a 70%. Say you needed a 65 to pass the course. They're no, you have to get a 70. We need to make sure that you can pass this MBME.
All right. So what I'm hearing is that so if at the end of the semester you get below a 70, that's a fail.
Yeah.
You have the option to retake that, and you must get at least a 70 to pass that.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't, you can retake the course.
Okay, so this remedial exam, is that before the next semester, or is it when do you have to take the remedial exam?
I believe it's right before the next semester, like the day before or the day after classes start. I don't know for sure. I haven't actually looked into it too much because I haven't had to yet. Okay. Fingers crossed, but yeah.
So you mentioned that you mentioned something about an MBME, right? So you guys have MBMEs for every course at the end of the semester?
Yeah. So in block, they're into 4 blocks. So say you're talking about microbiology, block 1 would be immunology, and then you'd write a quiz and exam on immunology. Block 2 is bacteriology, so you write a quiz and exam on bacteriology. Next we had virology, so it's quiz and exam, and then parasites and fungi was block 4. But rather than just the parasites and fungi, it was a cumulative MBME for microbiology and immunology.
All right. So the final exam, is that the NBME, or do you guys have an NBME and a final exam that your profs set?
So our final exam is the NBME for each course.
I see. Okay, got you. Because in my school, we have a final exam that our professors set, and we have NBME.
Okay, yeah. So the final exams are technically the blocks 1, 2, and 3. They're exams for each of the blocks, and then the final MBME.
Now that you guys have your schooling online, so because I think most people might decide to go through the online route.
Yeah.
They mandate you guys to come back. So what's that like? So when does class start in the day, and when does class end?
Our first class is at 10 a.m. and it's 2 hours, then 12 p.m. for 2 hours. And we have a lunch break from 2 to 3, and then another class from 3 to 5, and then 5 to 7. This is all Eastern time zone. But so it's 8 hours a day. Obviously, some days you'll not have a class during the 3 to 5 block, or not have a class during the 5 to 7. But they're typically around 8-hour days of class.
Okay, so from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Okay. So just talk to us a little bit more about that. What is that for some people who don't know what that is? So what exactly is the exam?
So the comp exam is basically a test you have to pass before you go on to writing your STEP exam. I actually really like that when schools do this, because it kind of ensures that you're going to be ready for the STEP exam when time comes, or gives you a pretty good idea of where you're going to sit or what your score is going to be on STEP. So basically in our MD5, we take the Kaplan course and you have to pass Kaplan. And if you pass Kaplan and the quiz is in MD5, then you pass the MD5 course. So you've passed MD5, but you have to wait another 4 months to write the MBME if you failed it. But you're studying on your own terms. You don't have to pay for another semester. You still passed MD5, but you just have to write the MBME before you write STEP again. So the only reason that would kind of be bad is if you're planning to write STEP right after, but you have to wait the 4 months for passing MBME first. But it's more time to study. So honestly, the more time you have to study for STEP, the better, because that score means everything, right? So
yeah, that's the main thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So like a lot of times students just want to know how we really feel about our school so they can make a decision, right? They want to know, sometimes I get questions like, do you like your school? What don't you like about the school? So I'd like you to tell us, what are some of your likes and dislikes about St. James School of Medicine?
So I love St. James. I honestly don't really have any complaints. I think that it's been, like, I started as the first semester was optional to be online, and profs I think made a really good transition to online, with students like moving away from the island, moving to the island, like not having their stuff. Those profs have all been super helpful. They answer emails really fast. We have like a class rep of every class, which is kind of nice. So rather than this prof getting like bombarded with questions, this class rep kind of like takes over, and like we email our questions to the class rep. All the clubs, they found a way to incorporate them online. So like AMSA we have, and we've been having guest speakers come in like constantly. The people that are on island are still doing like beach cleanups and like volunteering at the Humane Society. Okay. Our clinical focus groups, they've all like gone off and done their own thing. So you can like pick specific focuses you want. And they've had guest speakers from like different like emergency room doctors or like neuroscientists. It's like really amazing. I think the hardest thing for me at the school would be the 8 hours of class. Okay. I love to study on my own. I love to like watch videos and like incorporate my own notes and read things out loud. So for 8 hours of class a day, it's kind of a lot because you finish at 7 p.m. So it's like, I basically have 3 or 4 hours to study before I need to go to bed and review everything I've just learned, but like incorporate multiple choice questions and like practice from all these different resources that they tell me. So I think that was like the hardest part, is 8 hours a day, but I know a lot of like, it's medical school. I can't not go to class. So
all right. So are these classes mandatory?
You have to go to 70% of the class in order to write the MBME at the end. Okay. So 70% of them you have to go to. I think it's helpful to go to them. All the profs are super helpful, and they'll like go through that, like your PowerPoint, and be like, and remember, like this is high yield and this is high yield. So it's nice going through with that. Like, sure, you can read first aid, but the prof knows what they're going to put on the exam. So like, sure, first aid is going to be key to step one, but in order to get to step one, you're going to need to pass these exams along the way.
Yeah, that's very key, because I tell people that a lot as well too, because people feel like they want to focus a lot more on that, but it's like a process, right? You have to pass through like the exams your prof set before you can get to the stage where you have to take the first and step one and all of that. Okay, and are your classes recorded so that the student can review the lecture again at a later time?
Yeah, so they're all recorded and posted that same night, which is, it's not like right after class, but like by, I don't know, 8:30ish, they're all posted so you can review them. Okay. And I think that they stay throughout like your whole time. It's like in MD5, if I need to go back and review every single like every single lecture for microbiology, I could.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is really nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. If there was one thing you could change about your school, what would that be?
One thing I could change, I think I would make the courses not mandatory, because there are days when you have like an exam in your 3 to 5 class or your 5 to 7 class, but you have to go to your 3 to 5 class and say you're not ready at all for that exam. If they're recorded anyways, like why not just watch it after class? Like, why do I have to go for that time if I have an exam I'm not ready for? But you can't miss it, because if there's actually an emergency that you have to miss it for, what if you don't reach that 70%? So I think that obviously teachers don't want to be teaching to themselves or one student in the class. So I understand why they're mandatory, but it would be nice if they weren't.
Okay. So thanks a lot for joining me. So I know you also have your own Instagram page and stuff going on where you give great advice. So can you tell them a little bit more about your page, and if you have any YouTube channel or anything that you want to have them to visit? So just tell them more about it. Contact you any questions.
So I made the Instagram page just because I knew when I was starting, I was like looking up St. James like in the little like location things on Instagram, and I couldn't find anybody, because I just wanted to talk to somebody about it and like how they liked it and if they know anybody that's matched. And I just wanted to talk to more people, but I couldn't find anyone. Yeah. So I made this page because I was like, I had so many questions. So if anyone finds my page, I can help them some sort of way. Or people like wanting to like go this alternate route if they can't get into a medical school in Canada or the States, and they're like, there's a stigma behind Caribbean schools, like I'm worried about it. And I'm just there to like kind of like or hopefully I can talk them through it and get them to make up their mind or the decision. I think that the Caribbean schools are a great alternative route. So I decided I would make a page about my journey and how it's going for me. It's kind of scary though, because like when you're doing your MBA and you come out of it and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I failed that. And now I'm gonna have to go post to my page that I failed in front, like that's gonna suck. So I feel like it's honestly been like kind of motivational for me to like make sure that I'm passing my courses, because I don't know, I don't want to be like, and I'm taking another year because I failed.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, for me it's been like a exciting journey on this page alone. And I honestly like, I started with like 300 followers, but I have like 1,000 already. I'm like, all right, people are like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, this is so helpful. I'm like,
100.
support. So yeah, that's how I made it.
Yeah. So what's your Instagram handle? So I'm going to put it in the.
It is medjourney_img.
All right. So medjourney_img. So I'm going to put that in the description. I'm also going to put that on the screen as well for when I'm done editing it, so you guys can see and follow her and ask any questions you guys have. I mean, I've gone through some questions here, but if you guys have any more questions about St. James School of Medicine, feel free to hit her up there, and she's going to answer any more questions you guys have. So do you have any final words for them before we close today?
I don't know. Good luck on your journey. Watch these videos and decide which school you want to go to. They're going to be super helpful.
All right.
So.
Okay, so thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to join me here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully, we're probably going to do this again when we get to the clinical portion of things, because I'm also going to do a clinical portion video, because there are some differences between basic sciences.
For sure.
Right? So
yeah,
you're all going to get there someday, and we're going to do another video when we get there, right? So good luck with your exams and everything when you start, and I wish you the very.
Yeah, thank you so much.